say Asantefo ya de mani ya fe ya kono ade bi Asantefo be so bia na ademina te ko bia Asante ko ka say ye ma ya Asante won nsam hia ye nti wono so hia na pa ma transia dwene so tifu ya transia dwene ho say de Asantefo le si ye kwa yi ana ye ko program da fa hye bi ye ko di bi de ye si kare ho ye si support Asanteman efe ene ne bi no mo pese mo beti Asante asem no omo so Asantefo ye hwehwe ne mu ye hwehwe ne mu ye hwehwe ne mu ye pe ye ma me hwe ye paade ye ma ye hwehwe ye paade ye be ye fe ni ati di won ni ati ye ti ye nim ti ade tie eni pe no buase de sikan fere Asanteman no kuma pemeba ko bi Asante kotoko enso ye de Asante na naso mo kwa hen be ye so wu pusa kentem ma ntimi Asante nye peda
The demise of his elder brother, his predecessor, in 1999, hit people hard. It had the impact of the fall of a meteorite. The exit of the mighty Otumfuo Osei II, like the fall of a mighty tree, created a void that needed to be filled. A new chapter opened. It blasted off the meteoric rise of another traditional hero. His humility is unmistakable, and his influence far-reaching. The Ashanti Kingdom in Ghana commands a rich history as it established itself as an irremovable bloc and irrepressible force against marauders. When it got to the Ashanti Kingdom, the sweep of colonial territories by imperialists experienced curves, and the linear curve of that surge flattened. Ashantis had the power to fight the British to a standstill. This looked mysterious to the more equipped British colonial army. Conspicuous for its rich cultural heritage, the Ashanti Kingdom is a major reference point in historical surveys related to West Africa and the greater diaspora community. The arrival on the scene of Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II as the 16th occupant of the Golden Stool has taken the Ashanti Kingdom and its people to another level. Whilst we may be transfixed by its tenacity in the evolution of life in a critical period of time, the contemporary Ashanti proves even more worthier under the direction of Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, who assumed the reins of the Ashanti Kingdom in April 1999. It is a dynamic thrust within the maze of several actors in Ghana and the world at large. Cultural tenets are preserved and remain intact. A royal who was raised with great care in preparation for leadership. The moment of truth was the taking of the Accession oath.
I don't think Oyoko she doesn't make Jase Asantehene the Santa Casem can't say Obtaining Boku Naname Obtaining people to Neajma Pampo Naname Nanajma Grandpa Naname no one knows this here. Many people are also to me. And yes, some part, I'm not the best part of mine. Emma Asanteman with the Sumo. Some of you go talk to me, it's maybe about that was. That's my fun of prayer. Any mistake. My firm work and I'm going to.
The oath, said in the Asante, a version of Akan language in Ghana, is translated thus, quote, I swear by the great oath of Asante as follows. Osei and Opoku, referring to Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu I, and Asantehene Okatechie Opokuwari I, who are my grand-uncles. Osei Esibe Bonsu and Ajimai Opambo, both past kings of Asante, are my grand-uncles. Nana Ajimai Prempeh I is my grand-uncle. Osei Chiritwie, referring to Asantehene Ajimai Prempeh II, is my uncle. Asantehene Opokuwari II is my brother. Unquote. The oath swearing is a sacred tradition in Asante culture, symbolizing the king's commitment to his people and ancestors. As the 16th Asantehene, he took the name Osei Tutu II in honor of the founder of the Asante Kingdom, Otumfuo Osei Tutu I. Ashanti chiefs and other natives were joined by dignitaries and people from all walks of life to catch the sight of him when he was outdoored. Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II presides in a kingdom that extends beyond the Ashanti region. These represent dozens of traditional areas whose chiefs hold allegiance to the king, in this case Asantehene. The chronicles of the new king began in 1999, and the foretaste to what was to become his mantra was the dispatch with which he settled chieftaincy disputes. Cases which stretched for decades were thrashed out by the young Otumfuo, who exercised his authority without fear or favor. The lingering litigations extinguished, Otumfuo was referred to as the wise King Solomon by people. Nana Kunedu Ajimai Rawlings, First Lady of Ghana between 1982 and 2001, is a peer of the king and recounts their youthful ages.
Nana, from a very young age, I think, had certain qualities that were obvious to his uncles and his aunties and so on. We were cousins. But anytime he was in my parents' home, the treatment that were giving him was different from our other cousins who would come from Kumasi. He had a sense of duty that was phenomenal even at that time. Becoming the king of Ashanti put him a number of notches above my other uncles and grandparents who came before him. They had their own styles as well. But we are in a modern time and he's behaving like a modern king.
The early successes chalked up in his own kingdom making the rounds, people outside his traditional jurisdiction clamored for his role in other situations. In their bewilderment, the positions that looked flabby began to pivot around Otumfuo as a kind of a redeemer. His first test was the friction between former President Jerry John Rawlings and the then sitting President John Ejiokum Kufuor. Nana Kunedu Ajimai Rawlings recollects the processes that led to the peace.
The local politics, he does not leave it out either. He makes sure that there's always a semblance of peace and serenity. And he's not afraid to look at you and say, you know what you did was wrong. Let's not repeat it. You also didn't do the right thing. So you owe each other apologies. Let's live in this country in peace. Always, trying to bring peace amongst different factions and so on.
An adjunct came from the Chief of Staff of Menchia, Kofi Bedu.
We always want to rise above the interplay of political forces and so on. And therefore, we like to do what we can, behind the scenes. But it's always sometimes necessary for the nation to know that the cohesion that we've had in this nation, the unity that we have been able to preserve, could never have been sustained without the personality of Otumfuo.
Ghana, considered a doyen of peace of the African continent, experienced an incident in 2002 that threatened to blot out the hard-earned accolade. It was the regicide that occurred at Yendi, the Dagbon traditional area in the north of Ghana. The state saw the red flags in the Dagbon case early enough and this stemmed from the irreconcilable positions taken by the factions to the conflict. President Kufuor frantically reached out to Otumfuo Osei Tutu II to intercede. It took the king more than 1,000 sittings over a 17-year period to resolve the very difficult conflict.
No one can take my sovereign, my liking you as my children to misbehave in front of me. Now, if the Yana were sitting here denying you cannot misbehave like that, so you don't do that in front of me. I hold that authority and power here, and therefore no one. Please, let me have the patience as my sons to resolve, try and find solutions to this. But I don't want anyone to take it for granted. No.
When President Kufuor asked me to chair the eminent chiefs, the Adani brothers said they didn't want to have anything to do with the government. They didn't want anything to do. They didn't want any money or whatsoever. And I should bear the responsibility. I bore the cost of the negotiations and everything. I have to use my own money to look after them.
Let me put it on record that at no time has any president or party or political party brought any influence at all on this committee. None of them. You have not brought any pressure on us to resolve this. Sure, they know I would never allow anyone to bring pressure on me to settle issues on whether the president likes it this way or not. That no one can force me to do it. So we've come to this conclusion based on the customs and traditions of Dagbon, and we want to assure you that we'll continue through that till we get a new Yana. So the impression that the MPP is now here and they're in a hurry to perform the funeral of Na Muhammadu, no, that's not the issue. So the president sitting there has not brought any pressure on me to resolve that. And I've gone through NDC and MPP governments, and none of them brought any pressure on me. We've resolved this through the customs and traditions, and we're here to present that to you, Mr. President. We've come here to inform you. This committee took a decision and said that the funeral of Na Muhammadu Abdullahi should be performed from the 14th of December to the 28th of December this year. They have a 1-week respite, and the next will be from the 4th to the 19th or 18th of January. Then the Andanis would also perform. On that very day, the last day, the Friday, there are 4 recognized elders who have to sit in seclusion, and then they would have to do their oracles to choose a new Yana. And that starts from the very Friday that the funeral of Na Yakubu Andani finishes. So we hopefully believe so that after the 18th, the oracles will start, and God willing, within the few days, we shall have a new Yana.
The Dagbon peace process went through 4 presidents of Ghana, namely John Agyekum Kufuor, John Evans Atta Mills, John Dramani Mahama, and Nana Akufo-Addo. President Kufuor described the manner Otumfuo resolved the issue as world-class.
The solution didn't lie in a legalistic solution, not a commission of inquiry. The people were not pacified. The police investigated to arrest criminals and so forth and so on, but still there was no peace in the ND and Dagbon generally. So I approached Otumfuo, put the matter before him, enlisted his help, said, Nana, help me to assure the Dagombes that my government was innocent, that we wished the best for them, but we just we find ourselves in this trap that we are innocent of. Otumfuo considered the matter, it's all right. You join the 2 old kings and then approach the Dagombes to see if they would listen. We use traditional means to resolve this, the impasse there.
He ascended the throne on 26 April 1999. By November of the same year, he had established the Otumfuo Education Fund, another famous plus that was to be emulated by some chiefs in other traditional areas.
From 1999, he set up Otumfuo Education Fund. As a leader who has a vision and followers, He made sure that whatever he set up becomes attractive for people to support. So he started mobilizing resources inward and also asked others to support. Now, whenever you hear about Otumfuo Education Fund, you may think that it's only for scholarship. It's not. As a strategist himself, he decided to look out for other things he can add to support the education. Education is not just paying the school fees. There are others. So there was avenue for people to get direct support through payment of school fees. Again, he decided also to acquire materials for them, reading materials and uniform, school sandals, chalk. He entered into infrastructure, rehabilitated schools, and set up new ones, about 40 new classroom blocks, 6 classroom blocks with teachers' bungalow were put up within the first 5 years with support from the World Bank. That was not the end. He thought it wise also to pay attention to other sectors, the teachers who are teaching what could be done. For the first time in the history of Ghana, that a fund is extending to other regions beyond Ashanti. Within the past 15 years, he set up the Otumfuo Teachers Award. This Teachers Award was not unique to Ashanti teachers. Over the past 15 years, I've said, we have awarded over 800 teachers from all parts of Ghana.
In 2024, the Hill Okomfanochi Teaching Hospital project was launched by Otumfuo. The king was not happy when the deplorable conditions of the hospital were brought to his attention. He then mobilized support to get the facility rehabilitated. The masterstroke for the Dagbon crisis, his role in getting all presidential candidates in Ghana to sign a peace document in 2012, other feats that bordered on the sustainable development goals, and the fact that his light never flickers in places where there is darkness, led to the bestowing of the title Pillar of Peace on him. Honorary doctorates by institutions of academia the world over, pilgrimage to Menchia, and worldwide invitations. One of the high points was his address to the UN General Assembly in New York in 2019.
I am proud that in a quiet and informal way, we in Ghana are showing the benefits of the traditional and contemporary cohesion in governance. Apart from the constitutional arrangements for a national House of Chiefs, the respect for traditional authority has created a layer of moral authority we can be mobilized to intervene in times of crisis. On occasions where the political temperature has been on the verge of boiling over, it has been possible to bring the combatants into a quiet conclave to cool down passions and restore calm. At the conclusion of the last presidential and parliamentary elections, the country stood on the edge of disaster. The UN representatives and the diplomatic community were aghast, alarmed that Ghana was about to slip down the slope of electoral violence. Fortunately, the moral authority of the palace was at hand. We were able to intervene to persuade the losing candidate to accept his fate and to fly both candidates for a quiet encounter to pave the way for a smooth handover. These are the highest examples of the crucial roles behind the curtains when the moral force of traditional authority is harnessed to protect and sustain the peace, unity, and security of Ghana.
Indeed, 26 years of Otumfuo Osei Tutu II has been marked by modernization, diplomacy, and strong advocacy for education and development in the Ashanti Kingdom and beyond. His leadership has embodied the fostering of unity, progress, and pride in Asante identity. His stature has elevated Asante monarchy on the world stage with engagements with global leaders and institutions, reinforcing Ashanti's rich heritage. He has championed business growth, supporting initiatives that boost local enterprise and attract investment to Ashanti and Ghana. Indeed, he is worth celebrating. Long live Otumfuo Osei Tutu II.
So thank you for watching the video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. And thank you to those who are about to subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel and share and like the videos that I give you.